Hey everyone, it's Alec, one fourth of the Everything or Nothing crew, here to celebrate all things spooky. And with Halloween drawing near, I figured right now would be a good time to shine some light on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. Happy Halloween.
Stop it!
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
Now, this is the only film in the franchise that does not feature Michael Myers, and back when it released in 1982, the general consensus on it was overwhelmingly negative. It's seen a bit of a resurgence in recent years and has risen to cult film status. I checked it out for the first time on Halloween night last year, and I thought that there was a lot to enjoy about it. The movie was written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, who also gave us It and Fright Night 2. The story centers around a doctor who begins to investigate a Halloween mask manufacturing company after a patient in his care is murdered under mysterious circumstances. Our protagonist, Dr. Dan Chalice, is played by Tom Atkins, who is a bit of a horror legend. He also appears in The Fog, Creepshow, Night of the Creeps, and Maniac Cop.
I got good news and bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
And Dr. Chalice is not our typical upstanding citizen. He's got a bit of a drinking problem. He's divorced and seems to have a distant relationship with his children. He openly flirts and grabs his nurses and other colleagues. And even his main motivation for investigating this mystery further seems to be mainly driven by lust for the daughter of the murder victim, Ellie, who is played by Stacey Nelkin. Ellie's father was a toy salesman who was meeting with the mask company, the Silver Shamrock, right before he was murdered, and so she believes that they are somehow involved. Luckily for Dr. Chalice, she is able to get over the death of her father pretty quickly and focus her efforts on the investigation. That brings them to the small town of Santa Myra, California, where the Silver Shamrock factory is located, and the locals have some of the heaviest Irish accents you'll ever hear.
It's cozy, it's quiet, and the price is right.
It's from the locals that they hear about the factory owner, Connell Cochran, and they seem to almost worship this guy. He has so much power in the small town that when one of the town's visitors is killed, they are picked up not by the ambulance, but by Silver Shamrock vans. And speaking of the kills, you get a decent variety here with some cool practical effects. The one that gets picked up by the vans is a particular standout, to the point that the makeup effects on her wound is actually pretty disturbing, even by modern standards, in my opinion. Throughout the film, people are chased or confronted by these men in suits, and while that isn't nearly as iconic as Michael Myers, it kind of gives a X-Files conspiracy vibe to the whole thing that I enjoy. And that vibe is even further amplified by the terrific score from the legend John Carpenter and Alan Howarth. Just a really chilling atmosphere, and it's honestly one of my favorite things about the film. Connell Cochran is played by Dan O'Harely, and he delivers a great performance as the owner of the Silver Shamrock. Very hammy. It's almost like he's trying to act humble, but that egotistical side of him peeks out. And really, who could blame him when everyone from the locals to the tourists are just on his nuts constantly? At one point, he offers a tour to Ellie and Dr. Chalice, along with a few others, where he shows them some of the manufacturing process, and eventually his nefarious plans come to light. And look, I gotta be honest, his scheme and his motivations are complete nonsense, like the Stonehenge is involved kind of nonsense. But if you grew up on Goosebumps books like I did, this kind of fits that mold, and as long as you like stuff that's campy and fun, you can still have a good time with it. There are also just other ridiculous things, like this scene where Dr. Chalice gets attacked by a severed arm. And this scene keeps going well after the point you think it would stop, and it gets sillier the longer it goes. But overall, I really enjoy this movie, and it's kind of bittersweet in a way, because the director Tommy Lee is on record saying that the original plan for the Halloween franchise was for each entry to be its own unique story set on Halloween. and Michael Myers was supposed to be done after the first 2 films. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on what camp you're in, with all of the negative reception they got, they abandoned this idea and decided to bring back Michael 6 years later. I personally would have liked to have seen what other unique stories we could have gotten from Halloween, but there's a strong chance that the franchise probably wouldn't have been nearly as popular or lasted as long as it did without Michael Myers. I still think it would be really cool for them to revive the anthology theme, even if it's on a smaller scale like a TV series. But anyways, what's your favorite entry in the Halloween franchise? I haven't seen all of them, so I'd love to get some of your recommendations. And where would you like to see the franchise go next? Should a 90-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis be running over Michael with her wheelchair? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe because we know that nearly 90% of you watching aren't subbed, and we'd love to have you back. As always, make sure you order a pizza, grab some popcorn and your favorite soda, and have a great movie night.